Hello, my name is Andy Mazzella, and I'm going to be talking about Emily Jacir today. She's a Palestinian artist born in 1970 in Bethlehem. She received her art degree from the Memphis College of Art. And now she spends most of her time in New York, Rome, and Palestine. A lot of her work has to deal with Arab identity, and she does that through photography, film, installation, and performance. She has many prizes, but a big one for her was the Hugo Boss Prize for significant achievement in contemporary art in 2008. And I have a quote from the jurors from that show. And they said, Jacir's work combines the role of archivist, activist, and poet to create poignant and memorable works of art that were once intensely personal and deeply political. So that gives you a background of her work. And the first piece that I want to show you guys is called Material for a Film. This piece in particular was motivated by the many killings of Palestinian intellectuals, artists, and diplomats carried out by Israel. In this piece, she pays homage to the poet Walls Waiter. He was living in Rome, and when he was trying to get into his apartment, he was gunned down with 12 bullets. This installation includes video, sound, text, and photography, and it just exposes the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and its consequences. This work has been featured a lot, but notably in 2007 at the Venice Biennale. And here's a little snapshot of part of the gallery that included photography, poetry, just again, like I said, homage to Zwaiter. And let me see if I can get this video up. So that video was kind of from Zwaiter's point of view just before he died, trying to get into his apartment. So that was just one aspect of the installation. The next piece that I'm going to show you is called Lida Airport. It's also another installation that includes video. What's cool about this piece is that she actually uses both iCarvel footage and footage from when she made it in 2009. In this piece, she's kind of blending two stories together. One is of a man who is waiting at the airport for Amelia Earhart with flowers. Obviously, we know she didn't show up. And secondly, there's a missing Imperial Airways plane that also never showed up for landing and got lost over the Gulf of Oman. Imperial Airways was kind of like a British airline. So in this piece, she plays a character who's waiting at the airport for somebody who doesn't show up. And according to Art Fund, the piece plays with different states of being, like arrival and departure, fact and myth, and past and present, and just kind of depicts the relationship between England and Palestine. this next clip that I'm going to show you is a video of kind of like a retrospective of hers. And the curator actually talks about both pieces and does a really good job of explaining both of them.
Emily Jacir Europa is the first institutional survey show of the work of the artist Emily Jacir. Jacir is an artist from Palestine who lives around the Mediterranean. And the focus of our exhibition at the Whitechapel here is looking at 2 decades worth of sculpture, film, photography, and the various media that has informed her practice, particularly focusing on, as the title suggests, her relationship to Europe. The first piece you encounter in Gallery 1 is a large-scale installation called Material for a Film. This piece seeks to tell the story of the Palestinian intellectual living in Rome called Wael Zu'ata. He was the first of a series of intellectuals who was assassinated by Israeli Mossad agents in the 1970s. Wael was an intellectual who made his living doing a number of different things. He wrote columns in the newspaper in Italy and Italian. He was a translator who at the time was attempting to translate 1001 Nights. He also made his living and made ends meet by being an extra in different movies, including The Pink Panther. The actual installation itself is an immersive kind of environment. You hear Mahler's Ninth Symphony. You see a series of book covers, which were all the books that were found in Wael's house when he was assassinated. We move through the spaces and we see journeys where Emily herself has gone with Wael's partner, Janet Van Brown, and tried to photograph the local haunts, where he went for coffee, where he'd walk and get his groceries, the exterior of his apartment. What she started to do was to kind of look at him as a kind of lens or a figure by which to understand what was happening in Rome at that particular time. So what we start to see is Emily's intervention into his life and what that kind of says about Wael. He becomes alive through this installation. The act of silencing or the act of disappearance is something that resurfaces in this exhibition regularly. The installation at the airport tells the narrative of the British's relationship to Palestine through the lens of 2 parallel historical tales. One was about a small plane called Hannibal, who disappeared on its way from the airport over the Gulf of Oman to Sharjah. And also the story about an air traffic controller called Edmund Tummery, who was asked to wait for Amelia Earhart, who was meant to be visiting Palestine. He was asked to wait for her with a bouquet of flowers. As many of us know, Amelia Earhart was lost on her journeys around the world and never made it to Palestine. 2 stories of disappearance.
So that just kind of further explained the 2 pieces that I showed you guys. But that's basically all I have for you. And here is my works cited, and I hope you guys enjoyed.